Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is going to be a great one. I've been waiting for about 2 years to get this interview. We finally got it. The man I'm talking about is Branch Warren. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing?
Good. You've been recreating yourself over the last couple of years. I like it, and I like what I'm seeing. You've turned yourself from a world-class bodybuilding competitor into a world-class promoter. And knowing you for as long as I do, you only do things 100%, Branch.
Well, that's right. If you're going to do it, why half-ass it, you know? So if you're going to have a show, have the best show. If you're going to have a business, have the best business in whatever division, area you're in. So if you're going to do it right.
Branch, you've accomplished probably more in the bodybuilding world than most people would ever dream of doing. You won the team nationals. You started it all off with that overall, beating Jay Cutler back in the day. You won 2 Arnold Classics. You were second at the Mr. Olympia in 2009. You won 6 most muscular awards at the Arnold Classic. You've always defied the odds. You know, when people counted you out or people said you couldn't do it, you always proved. I think actually it motivated you to even prove to people that they're wrong. You've been doing it your whole life, and now you're doing it in the supplement industry. You're involved in a new company, beef jerky company. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Branch, what motivates you in life? What gets you up in the morning and makes you work as hard as you do?
Man, to win. When I was bodybuilding all those years and competing, I competed for, 24 years or something, 16 years as a pro, 17 years as a pro. People ask me that, how do you train so hard? How do you stay motivated? I want to win. Getting ready for a competition, if anybody who's ever competed knows that how hard it is. It's a lifestyle. You never get away from it. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. I would wake up in the morning. The first thing I thought about was my show I was getting ready for. I'll think about it all through the day. When I was training, I would think about it. It was the last thing I thought about before I went to bed at night, and I would dream about it sometimes at night. Winning the Olympia, winning the Arnold, or whatever it was I was preparing for. So, so that's what kept me motivated. I wanted to win. And now that in the past few years that I've, been retired, I've got into some other ventures, the supplement industry, and also my new venture, Wicked Cuts, which we'll discuss in a minute. And I want to have the best products out. I want to be the best I can be, and be one of the industry leaders in those industries.
Branch, what about when you were a kid? I know you've talked about your childhood and you had a rough upbringing, with your parents, stuff like that. Talk to me about what do you think it was that toughened you up so much and made you such a wanting to win type of guy? Because not everyone's like that.
I don't know. I think it's something that I don't know. I think maybe you're born with it. I don't know. It's that drive to succeed. That inner fight that you have. I think some people are just born with it and some aren't. I don't know if it's something you can learn or not. For me, I grew up, had a rough childhood. I grew up on a ranch, a farm. I was a farm boy. And, hard work was the way of life. I didn't know no different. When anybody who knows that ever grew up in that life, it's a lot of work, man. And, I grew up, we had cattle and horses and, farmed and all that stuff. And it was just chore after chore. I got home from school, I had to work. I had to do homework, then I had to go work and help out around the place. And it was just hard ass work. And, that's, I learned at a very, very young age that ain't nobody going to give you a damn thing. But you can have anything you want if you learn to work for it.
Right.
Thankfully, we live in a country where that's true. And so I've always, that's just, when I started bodybuilding, I was like this little skinny kid. And I never told anybody what my dream was. My dream was to be a pro bodybuilder. I wanted to win the Arnold Classic, win the Mr. Olympia. And I had a whole bunch of people laugh at me, tell me I couldn't even win a local show. And that pissed me off. And so I internalized that, and I used that to motivate me. And I'm like, all these people are saying I can't do it, but you know what? I think I can. And I believed in myself. And,
right.
I've had a few people that have been with me pretty much that whole journey, and they're still there. And, I was fortunate to have 3 or 4 really solid people behind me. And that's more than most people got.
When you see people like from your past who knew you as a kid, when you were, like you said, a skinny kid, and obviously you were not the tallest kid in school, and they see what you've accomplished, and they just like, holy shit, man, I can't believe it. You made good,
I bump into people I went to school with from time to time, especially with Facebook and Instagram, all that. It's a lot easier to stay in touch. So My friends in school, man, they're very supportive. I've had one of my friends wanting to play pro football for the Broncos, and he's been very successful, and a couple of other friends have been real successful in their jobs and careers. So, man, we try to stay in touch, and it's cool. I should have gone to my reunion. I didn't go, but looking back on it, I wish I would have went to my last reunion. So
you can go to 30 years. That's a better one.
Yeah.
30 years is better than 20 years, believe me.
I skipped to 21,
Yeah.
but we'll probably go to the next one.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you got into bodybuilding. You gave it 100%. You were living the bodybuilding lifestyle for so many years. You've accomplished pretty much everything aside from winning the Olympia. I mean, you were very close in '09. You pretty much accomplished everything you possibly could in bodybuilding. Was it hard to stop? And what was the final straw that you said, you know what, I'm done?
Well, I'll say that the final, I knew, I talked to some of the other guys like Rich Gaspari, and Ronnie and these guys, and I said, how'd you know? They said, man, you'll know. When the time comes, you'll know. And I always kind of told myself, I'm not going past 40. It's enough. And so I turned 41, I think, 2 days before my last competition, which was the Arnold Classic in 2016.
Right.
And, I always told myself, I said, hey, man, if these younger guys start passing me up and beating me, I'm done. Because I'm not going to go out like that. We've all seen in other sports, our sport and other sports, some of these great athletes that they hung around just a little too long.
Yep.
And you were saying it was almost painful watching them because you remember how good they were. You're like, man, I want this guy to hang it up, man, because it's kind of painful to watch him now. And I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
So I did that show, and I knew when I was at the show, I was like, this is it. I just turned 41, and I think I got 5th place in that competition, after winning it, back to back and getting, I think, I got second to Dexter the year before.
Right.
And so I just knew, I stepped off stage, and, me and Trish went to the room, and I said, this is it. I'm done. And she's like, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. And I never looked back. Now, that first year that I was done, we went to Olympia later that year, and I couldn't go to the show, because there's that it's inside you.
Sure.
You still want to get up there and be in the fight, And I'm like, man, I've beaten all these guys at one time or another, even Phil,
Sure.
And I'm thinking, so there's that part of you that's, no matter how old you get, that inner fire never gets old. Problem is your body gets old. And, so, I never thought it would happen to me, but it did. And, that last show I trained for, I did everything the way I always did. I prepared the same way, same intensity, but man, my body just wouldn't respond. And, I'm getting ready for the show, and I knew going into it, I wasn't going to look the way I needed to look,
Right.
in order to be successful and win. And so it's just, I knew it would, it happens to everybody. Some people a little bit later, you have freaks of nature like Dexter, who's, 75 years old and he still is great. And, he's still winning shows. But then, but some people it happens in the early 40s. Some people, stretch it out to, 50 or something.
Right. Right. But Dexter doesn't train the way Branch Warren trains. I mean, we've seen your workouts. I mean,
but
brutal's not even a good explanation for your workouts. And in the environment that you train it over at Metroflex there is like subhuman. So, I mean, you're really subjecting your body to way more than a guy like Dexter Jackson's subjected to. Branch, how many injuries have you had over the course of your career? Because you probably have more than the fingers you have on your hand.
I've had 4 major injuries. I had 4 surgeries. I had one when I was an amateur right before I turned pro, and then 3 I tore both triceps, then as a pro athlete, and then of course my quad, and then I tore detached a bicep tendon about 9 months before I won the national championships.
I didn't even know that.
So,
now, interestingly,
that one didn't need coverage because I wasn't pro yet. So,
interestingly, you have an amazing capacity to heal, because I'll tell people, I'm still dealing with my quad tear. It's still not right. But I've never seen a human being recover from a quad tear the way you did, to the point where you were able to actually get on the Arnold Classic stage and win. 6 months, what was it, 6 months after the injury?
6.5 months from the day I had surgery.
That's got to be the greatest, I still say that's the greatest comeback of all time in the history of bodybuilding. No one will ever beat that, because if you haven't had a quad tear, you don't even have any concept of what he went through, because the rehab is where it really is the hard part, not the surgery itself.
No, the rehab
How
sucked.
did you get the range of motion back and able to lift the weight you did so quickly?
Man, I was just driven, I told myself when that happened, I said, I'm not going to let anything or anyone determine who or what I'm going to be. I'm not going to let anyone tell me I'm done. I'm not going to let any circumstance tell me I'm done. I'll be the one who decides when I'm done. And, I didn't care what it was. And I was at the peak of my career. I just, placed second at the Olympia. I just won the Arnold Classic. I was at the peak of my career, and I'm like, I'm not going out like this. I'm not done. And I told my wife, I'm like, this is not going to define who I am. I go, I'm going to define who I am. And she goes, you think you can do it? I said, I know I could do it. And I never doubted myself for a minute that I could be ready. And I told her, I had surgery on a Monday. That Wednesday morning, I told my wife, I'm going to do the Arnold Classic and defend my title. And Trish was like, all right. And she said, you better start eating. And she went and started cooking my food for me. I'm laid up in a recliner, and I started eating. And I think that following Monday, I was back in the gym. Johnny, I come hobbling in the gym on crutches, and Johnny looked at me and goes, what the hell are you doing, bro? And I'm like, training for the Arnold Classic. Johnny looks at me and goes, fuck it, man. You're crazy. Let's do it. So we did it, man. And I mean, we were doing chest, and, he was having to rack and unrack all the weight for me and hand me my dumbbells and do all this stuff. But I just started training for it, and I never, I even trained legs. I just did my left leg. Because I learned from previous injuries, if you train the other side of your body, it'll keep the injured side from atrophying as bad. So I was training my left side, my left leg, left hamstring, left calf, and then consequently kept my right side from atrophying as bad. And as you know, the rehab is what sucks. All of my injuries I've ever had in my life combined weren't as bad as this. And
it's the worst.
Most pain I've ever experienced. I mean, just getting range of motion back was one of the most painful things I ever had to do, because, what people don't realize is I had to learn how to walk again, as you know.
Yeah.
You can't walk when you have this, so you have to learn how to walk again.
Right.
And here I'm thinking about winning the Arnold Classic.
I don't know how you did it.
And I can't even walk. And people are looking at me like, man, what the hell are you smoking, bro? And I take a year or two off, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And I give a lot of credit to that victory to Brian Dobson, though. I went to him and I said, hey, man, I need your help on this one. Because I realized very early on that, I'm trying to climb Mount Everest, and I couldn't do it by myself. And so I went to Brian. And I said, hey, man, what do we need to do to rehab this? And he kind of explained what he wanted to do. And that's the only time in my life I've ever disagreed with him. And I said, man, I don't know. I said, you sure we should do it like that? And I came back the next day, and we had to discuss it again. And he doubled down on it, and I said, all right, it's in your hands.
What did he want to do that was so controversial?
He basically, I want to do a lot of isolation stuff, just to bring that quad back and get it. And he wanted to train it, he wanted to do normal squats, normal leg press, normal, train both legs at the same time. And I've never disagreed with him. I never questioned his training. His record speaks for himself, obviously. And so we had two discussions about it, and I just said, all right, it's in your hands. And thank God I did, because it worked.
Did he feel that by having both legs working at the same time, there would be less stress on that one joint?
Yeah, he explained to me, and plus, mentally it's hard because your good leg wants to take over.
Right.
Number one, you're right. Your injured leg is weak, and number two, it hurts like hell for a few months. I mean, every rep just hurts, and then the psychological issue in your head is like,
tear.
Is this thing going to hold on? Because I do not want this thing to give way when I got some weight on top of me or on my back. And so you just have to, have faith and go for it, man. And that's what I did. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to hold back, and I'm going to go all out. And it was 6 months of hell. But I didn't know. I knew, I kept seeing my progression every month. And I didn't know until I was about 30 days out in the Arnold that year whether I would be able to compete and win. I knew I'd be able to compete and I'd be good. But I'm like, I kept looking at my, my legs going, I don't know, man. And about 30 days out, I remember we trained and I posed. And I looked at myself in the mirror there at Metroflex, and I remember thinking, I got this. And, 2 weeks later, I was, condition-wise, I was ready. And had 2 weeks to go to the show, and I was able to.
You were lucky.
So come back.
You were lucky because your knee looks pretty much the same on both sides. You didn't really have a knee defect. Like a lot of guys have a big swollen, like I have a big swollen knee on that side still, like the scar tissue.
I've been very blessed with being able to heal and recover very, very well from my injuries. Every injury I've had, I've come back actually stronger and better than I was before I got injured. And then I came back very quickly from all my injuries.
Now, Branch, you're a smart guy. You're a smart business guy because while you were competing, you started getting into contest promotion. You started the Branch Warren Classic. I've been out there. It's an #1 rated show. I mean, you got the Expo. It's tremendous. And you must have had an escape plan. So you must have realized, hey, at some point, I'm not going to be able to make money bodybuilding. I got to make money someplace else. And you started early, which was smart, because a lot of guys wait till they stop competing, and then they're like, what am I going to do with myself? Who told you or who put that little thought in your head, hey, let me start branching out right now, no pun intended?
That's just something I instinctively knew. As any pro athlete, you are one injury away from being done.
Yeah.
And you show me any rookie pro athlete that can tell you when their career is going to be over.
Can't.
They don't know. You don't know. I mean, you may just get your butt kicked and you get forced out. You may get hurt, and then you're done. So, and you may have a long career, but even then, what's a long career? 8 years, 10 years, 15 years? You don't know. So, the problem with being a pro bodybuilder is if you're one of the top, 5 guys or something, you make really good money, but you're not making NFL or NBA money.
No.
So you're gonna have to work afterwards. And I was, I grew up really, really poor. I mean, when I started bodybuilding, I couldn't even afford a $20 gym membership.
Wow.
So I didn't want to live like that. I had a wife, and a family.
Right.
So I didn't want to live like that and, be stressed out how you're going to pay your rent and this and that.
Sure.
So, I took the success I enjoyed on stage and then I parlayed that into business. One of the first things I did was I started the Branch Warren Classic down in Houston. And I built it up to a really big expo. And, we'll have over 10,000 people in attendance this last year. And this year, probably a little bigger. It grows a little bit every year. Also, I've got 3 other expos, which I basically just cookie cutter the Houston show and done the same thing in these other cities. I've got my own line of supplements through Black School Nutrition. We've I had a logistics company, me and my wife. I had that, I guess, 14 years, 12 years we've had it. So, that's been very successful. So
you still doing that, Branch?
We were doing it up until last year.
Okay.
And, so we had 10 great years with the business and
sure.
Very successful. And so we had all these other things, because there's so
you
many
owned that gym for a while too, I remember, right?
I had a gym. Yeah, I had a gym for a number of years. And I sold that when the logistics company really took off. And in my career, I just couldn't. I couldn't juggle all 3 of them. So I've always, me personally, I never want to put all my eggs in one basket. Bodybuilding was my first love, and since I was 18 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. But then, I took that success and I leveraged that success in other areas so that I knew one day my career would be over. I didn't think I would ever. I thought around 35, 36, I would be done. I was just kind of when I was hitting my stride. So. By 40 though, 40, 41, I had a better career and it was longer than I ever imagined it would have been. When I first turned pro, I was like, man, if I can win a few shows, make it to Olympia, that'll be pretty awesome. And, I had no idea it would be a 15, 16-year-old career and, accomplish everything I did.
One of the biggest pieces of advice I always give to people, and you just said it perfectly, is, make sure you have multiple streams of income because one stream can always dry up. And if you have multiple streams there, even if they're not huge amounts of money, at least you've got something coming in when something else goes away. And you've always managed to do that. Like I said, when I came out there and did that light day in the life with you, we saw you had the gym, you had the logistics company, you were in the midst of, really doing well on the pro scene. So you always, and I think this might have been right before you started promoting shows. So you were always one of these guys that had multiple things going on at the same time. And I think that's why you've always been very successful.
Yeah, it's the problem with most bodybuilders are lazy.
You're right. I'm glad you said it.
Some of my boys, but they are. They go to the gym, they work out, and they want to lay around, eat chicken and rice, and watch Sports Center and play video games. And that ain't me, man. So if I did that, I would be divorced.
Yeah. Think about it. But 10 years ago, if the oxygen crew out there in Kuwait would have called you up and said, "Hey, Branch, you want to come out and stay?" You'd never be able to handle that, right?
Nah, bro. I went out there for a couple of weeks, and me and Johnny were the first ones out there.
Yeah.
And, I was like, somebody's like, I think Dennis James was there with us too, and he stayed. And I was like, man, get me out of here. I'm like, I was going nuts, man. I mean, the dudes were super nice, you know, don't get me
No,
wrong.
yeah.
A lot of the crew, they treat us great, but, you know, all day I just sat around my room, man, and we trained, did cardio, and then what do you do? And,
Yeah, you're a doer. You're a doer. You're not a sit around guy.
man, I can't do that. So I'd go nuts.
Do you think parents are too easy on their kids nowadays? Do you think kids have such of a sense of entitlement that they just don't want to work anymore? I mean, I hate to be like that old guy with you sitting around all crabby. These kids don't want to work anymore. But is it true?
It is true. I think parents have gotten too easy on their kids. I think that's a result because of, I see why. You know, now that I have my own family, have a daughter, you know, I grew up really, my childhood was rough, you know, and we didn't have no money. It was, you know, my father was not too cool, and it was rough on me, you know. But because of that, I think was instrumental in me being the way I am and being successful and being driven. You know, I think when you're too soft on kids, then you know, they don't require the tools and the skills they need to be successful as they become adults. You know, you got to learn life isn't all unicorns and rainbows and sunshine. You know, it's a mean, cruel place once you become an adult and you leave mom and daddy's house and you're out there on your own. So no one gives a damn about you. You got to take care of yourself. And, you know, these kids nowadays, they don't want to take that entry level position. They want to, you know, be hired and be the boss. Right. You know, they want to have the big salary and the nice office and, you know, be the boss. And it doesn't work that way. You know, you start at the bottom and you work your way up to the top. And if you have what it takes and if you work hard enough. So I do agree with that. And it's a different mindset these days.
Now, you know, you mentioned your dad was very rough on you, you know, growing up. You know, some kids in that environment would crumble and they would become maybe drug addicts and they would become, you know, deviants of society, criminals. Why do you think you stayed on the good side of things? Why do you think you followed the right path as opposed to, you know, because you could have rebelled against whatever he was doing to you, you know, growing up, and you could have just said F you and that would have been it. What in your mind, I mean, you must have had a point of clarity at some point in your childhood where you said, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm not going to do.
You know, I had a really rough father, but I had a really, really great mother. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she was a Christian. She taught me right and wrong. She taught me morals, work ethic, humility, honesty. And so I saw both sides of it. And, you know, I think when you grow up like that, you gravitate one way or the other. You become just like, if it's a bad situation, you become just like that. And that's how you turn out. Or you rebel against that and say, I'm not living my life like that. I'm damn sure not going to raise my kids like that.
Right.
And you go the other way, you do the right thing. So unfortunately, I had a mother in my life that was very strong and was the best person I know to this day. And that kept me right.
Yeah, no, that's it. You're lucky. I mean, you had two parents, and that a lot of people don't have that situation. And then, like you said, they do go down the wrong path. You know, raising daughters. Okay, I mean, you know, guys, you know, bodybuilders. I mean, think about it. If your daughter starts dating and you got bodybuilders knocking on your door, what are you going to do? I mean, it's like the ultimate curse to have a daughter in today's society, especially being a bodybuilder.
Man, I'm hoping she's going to be a nun or something. That's what I'm hoping for. It probably ain't going to happen, but...
I got news for you. I wouldn't want to come home and meet you. That's for sure. If I was the boyfriend, that's for damn sure.
Now I don't even want to talk about this shit. I mean, I don't know, man. The first dude that comes to my door, I don't know, man. It may not be good for him.
Talk to me.
I tell her all the time, like, boys are all bad. I said, I'm telling you, you'll be in your 30s before you ever meet a decent one, and then maybe not. I'm telling you, they're all bad, okay? They're all stinky. They all have cooties. And
it's tough.
So, you know, it's I don't know. It's all you can do is just you do the best you can as a parent to instill good morals and values into your children. Mm-hmm. You know, teach them right from wrong, teach them to be honest, and then you just hope that they listen to you.
Yeah, they never do, but yeah, hopefully, mostly they'll listen to you. Let's talk a little bit about the hunting situation, because you were always into hunting. I mean, I've gone on hunts with you guys, you and Brian, hunting the wild boar with the dogs and the knives, and I love it. I think it's great. If I lived in Texas, I could definitely see myself getting into it, even though I'm an animal lover, because you guys hunt for food and you give the food away and you eat the food. So it seems like it was a natural progression almost that you got involved with this beef jerky company. Talk to me about how this all came about.
Well, I'll tell you the story. Scott James
Yes.
was the owner, founder of BSN
Correct.
back in the day. When he sold BSN, we were on a flight together out of Dallas, going somewhere, and we started talking. And I said, man, we should get together. I want to work with you. We should do something together. That was 6 years ago, maybe roughly. I said, all right. He goes. He said he had a non-compete clause, and he said, man, when that's up, let's stay in touch, and when it's up, we'll do something. I said, all right. So, and to his credit, we stayed in touch, and over the years, and then he called me up and said, hey man, let's get together and let's have a meeting and talk about something. I was like, all right. And so we met up and we started discussing some things. And he brought up beef jerky. He said, what do you think about doing a jerky company? And I thought about it. At first I was like, jerky company? I'm like, I don't know anything. I know my family used to make beef jerky or whatever, growing up or something. But
yeah,
it's just other than that, I whatever. Everybody, I like it. I know most people do, but
yeah.
I'm like, he kind of had to sell me on it a little bit. And I remember I went home and I said, all right. And I thought about it. And the more I thought about it, I was like, man, this could work, because with sports supplements, 2, 3, 4% of the population is your market. With beef jerky, it's everybody that's not a vegan.
Right.
Everybody likes beef jerky, right? Or turkey jerky or whatever.
Yeah.
So we started thinking about it. And I said, we had to start educating ourselves on how to, the whole process of making it and doing all that stuff. So we went to work, man. I dove into it head first, and it's been a fun experience. A new challenge,
right.
Learn something different. So the hardest part was getting the flavors,
Sure.
correct, and getting the texture correct. And I don't like that real dry, hard stuff. You chew it so hard and dry, you get your jaw start hurting when you're done eating.
Oh yeah,
it. I don't like that dried out shit you get from the store. So I want something that's tender, moist, and so we started working on it and brought it all together, and we launched it 3 weeks ago. Wicked Cuts. Go to wickedcuts.co, and we've got 7 different flavors: 3 beef, 2 turkey, 2 bacon. So here's our beef, original peppered, volcanic jalapeno.
right.
My favorite one, old-fashioned maple bacon.
Wow.
It ain't healthy for you, but it tastes the best.
I'm sure the bacon one does. Yeah.
We have a teriyaki turkey.
Now, does Brian Dobson provide the pork for the bacon one?
No, he hasn't done it. We found that wild boar stuff. I don't think I don't know if you can sell that commercial or not. I think you give it away. I think you get in trouble. You start selling it commercially, but
probably doesn't taste that good. It's a little rough, the wild boar.
Yeah, the wild boar is. So, we give a lot of that to the homeless, and
right.
Through our church, they do an outreach, and there's a butcher in town that butchers it for us, and we give it out to people that need it. So, if you're hungry or some of these people are down on their luck, having a nice free meal is a nice thing.
Now, give me the science of the beef jerky. What do you have to know about that? When you got into the field, what did you learn? I mean, are there different cuts, or are there different ways to prepare it? What makes yours different and better? Why should someone buy the Wicked Cuts?
Well, first of all, it's hand sliced. There's no preservatives, no hormones, any of that kind of stuff in it. It's super healthy. It's low in sodium. A lot of beef jerky you get is real salty.
Oh, super high in sodium.
Yeah, and that's being from my background. Obviously, I don't want something that's just drenched in sodium. So it's not high in sodium and salt. It's a low carbohydrate, and it's low in fat, with the exception of the bacon. The bacon's higher in fat.
Right.
But it's something you can incorporate if you have a keto diet, which I know you promote. That's something that you can definitely incorporate into your plan. And even if you don't, if you're doing just a regular diet, there's certain ones that are very much you can include into your program.
Are there sugar-free? Any of these?
Sugar-free. Yeah, the teriyaki has a little bit,
right.
But in the maple bacon, like I said, it's the most unhealthy one, but it tastes the best because it has all the good stuff you're not supposed to eat.
Right.
But their flavors are out of this world, and everybody's tried them, loves them. So we launched it 3 weeks ago, direct to consumer and direct to retailer.
Nice.
Very limited. Only certain select retailers are we selling to. So it's a majority of our business is direct to consumer. Mm-hmm. But I know I sent you some samples. I don't know if you've received them yet.
Not yet, or I'd be eating them right now on the show. I love to eat when I'm interviewing people. But when I get them, I'm going to do a little product review on it because, and I'll be honest, I'll tell you the ones I like and I don't like and everything like that. The key you said, and I think this is the key to a good jerky, you said they're moist and they're not going to break your jaw.
Correct. They're very tender. It's a very tender and moist. It's not that dried out shit that you buy, 7-Eleven in a bag, and it breaks you. You got to sit there and you got to chew and rip on it just to get a piece off. It's I hate that kind of jerky. Now some people I know like that, but I think more often than not, people like stuff that's a little more tender and moist.
Yeah.
Got some really good flavors. We spent a lot of time getting the flavors right. That was by far the hardest part of this whole process was getting the flavoring correct. So we want to be original. And have some stuff that, when you tried it, people, they're like, wow, this is really good.
What's the shelf life on these, Branch?
I believe it's about a year.
Okay. All right, so then they stay pretty good. Do you have to keep them refrigerated, or you can just keep them in the regular cabinet or something?
Right, room temperature, they stay pretty good.
Okay. So, and what's the website for that? Wicked Cuts?
Yeah, it's Wicked Cuts with a Z, WICKEDCUTZ.co.
Okay. And talk to me a little bit about what you're doing with Black Skull, because I know Marcelo Abella from who used to run Probiotica started Black Skull in Brazil, and I know you're involved. I know Lee Priest is involved with it. What's your I guess you could say role in Black Skull Nutrition? I'm
one of the athletes. I have my own product line. I've got the Black Skull by Branch Warren. So we've got a great pre-workout. It's Crossbones is a pre-workout. Excellent, man. If you guys in the market for a really good pre-workout, it's exactly what you would expect from a pre-workout with my name on it.
Don't take it too close to going to bed, or you'll be up all night probably.
Then we got protein, mass gainer, isolates. We have BCAAs coming out, a recovery product coming out. So we've got a full line of products.
Right.
We haven't launched in the United States yet. We're in Brazil. Several South American countries. Actually, we're launching in Chile here this month. I'm going to Chile in a couple weeks to promote the launch down there in Santiago. We're in the Middle East. We're in Europe. So which is pretty much what I want to do. I want to launch overseas, get it going, and then we bring it to the States. So into the summer, by the Olympia, we'll be ready to go. I'll be at the Olympia at the Black Skull booth. Right. And, that'll be our big U.S. Debut.
Branch will be at the Olympia Expo, but probably not at the show. Branch, who do you like in that top 6 now? Like, who do you think are the future stars of the pro open bodybuilding divisions?
I think Phil's in the driver's seat.
Still?
Yeah, I do. I think you've got 3 or 4 guys that kind of separated from everyone else. You got Phil, Big Ramy. William Bonac is the guy who's really impressed me the most because he's really made a lot of improvement year after year. Consistently, he's improved. His argument made he could have been second last year because his conditioning and the amount of improvement he made. So he's done very well. And then Dexter, Dexter defies all odds, and he's still up in one of the top guys, man. He's 75 years old and still kicking ass. And, so I love you, Dex. And
do you think
those are the top 4? Now some of these up and coming guys, Nation Diasha. It's really looked good this year, made big improvement. I see him coming up. Ruli has gotten huge. So I thought Dallas McCarver, was going to be the one to watch, and I think he had an Olympia victory in his future. I was really, I was friends with him, and I'm really that really affected me a lot. I couldn't believe it, But but those top 4 guys that I mentioned, I think that's going to be your top 4, and unless they make a mistake and come in really off. Ramy, Ramy's the biggest guy we've seen since Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. You don't have the quality and the density and the conditioning that Ronnie had. If he can bring that conditioning, then Big Ramy kills everybody.
Branch, do you think if Big Ramy came out to Texas and trained at Metroflex Gym with you and Johnny Jackson and Brian Dobson, you think he'd win the Olympia?
Man, I don't know, man. He's whatever he's doing is working for him. He's second in the world, so at this moment, so I can't criticize the man.
I think he's got to go back to like his Rocky roots. You know what I mean? Like he's got to go back to like he's training in too civilized of living conditions. He needs like no air conditioning. He needs to rough it a little bit more. I think he needs to go on a few wild boar hunts with you guys. I think that you guys got to toughen him up a little bit.
I don't know, man.
feed him beef jerky, you know, make him suffer a little bit, you know, more. Branch, talk to me a little bit about the state of bodybuilding. Do you like the advent of the new classic physique division?
I do like it. It's it's bodybuilding. So it's they get out there and battle just like the open class does. The one thing I'm starting to see though, I think it's affecting the open class. I think because we're seeing some guys that are turning pro into in the classic division, that normally would still be battling it out, in the open division. And some of these guys that you see have incredible physiques. In a lot of ways, they're more gifted than the guys in the open. And some of these guys in the classic, if they if we didn't have that division, they would continue growing, and they would grow in and become top open competitors. I mean, you look at some of the guys in the past, they were great open competitors. Mm-hmm. When they were at the national level or rookie pros, they would have been classic.
Sure.
What the classic guys was like, they kept training and packed on another 20, 30 pounds, and they became incredible, open athletes. So you take a Phil Heath.
Right, you're right.
Strip some of that muscle off Phil Heath, and he's a classic. He's a classic.
Sergio Oliva Jr. went on record as saying that these guys are they're lazy. They don't want to do the work. You can't just turn pro and win pro shows. You got to put your dues in. You got to make your improvements. And he said guys today don't want to do that anymore. They want to drop down and try to win classic physique because it's easier. Do you agree with that statement?
It is easier. It's still hard. I mean, classic physique is still bodybuilding. I mean, you still have to train and put the work in. It's still hard, but it's not as hard to be a top 6 Olympian in the Mr. Olympia. And there's only one Mr. Olympia. All the other divisions are not Mr. Olympia.
Right.
So, it's hard, man. I mean, you're looking at 10, 15 years of busting your ass every day to get there. And, you look at most of the guys, man, they're in their mid-30s to 40 years old. And, they've been doing it since they were teenagers or early 20s. So, it's a long, hard road to get there. I know I did it. Mm-hmm. And, but, that's the only division where it really pays off, too. So
financially, you're right. Yeah.
So, and there's a reason for that. So, if you see a 300-pound Rami on stage, it took a long time to get there. You see Phil Heath up there with an almost flawless physique. It took a long time to build that physique and get there.
Sure.
Even as gifted as Phil is, after he turned pro, how long did it take before he got up there?
Mm-hmm.
It took a while. So these other divisions, because the amount of mass and the amount of muscle maturity and things, it take years and years to develop. It doesn't take quite as long to go in some of the other divisions. So I wouldn't call the guys lazy by no means. I don't think they're lazy.
Right.
I just think that they're stopping a little short before they're not fulfilling their full potential. A lot of them.
I agree. I think I would like to see some of these top classic guys move up to the open bodybuilding because, like you said, they have such amazing genetics, and man, what could they accomplish at that level? And
take the top 3 or 4 guys in the classic physique. Imagine them with 20 to 30 pounds more muscle on them.
Yeah, sick.
There's your top guys at Olympia now.
Do you think that's taking away talent from future generations of Mr. Olympias?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do. You look at the past, the top guys that have been there. I mean, I think some of these guys they're not reaching their full potential.
Right.
Because they're stopping short and staying in the classic, and they have to meet the height and weight requirements, and so instead of going into the open division. So I definitely think some of the most gifted physiques, I think, are being held back. Right.
Flex Wheeler could have been a classic physique Olympia champion. He might never have gone into the open, had he been competing nowadays.
Correct. I mean, look at Chris Cormier back in the day.
Yeah.
Same thing, if they'd had that vision back then and he didn't stayed in it, he would have never did what he did. Kevin LeBron. There's so many great champions that they wouldn't have reached their full potential had they had a different division and they didn't. They went in that division, had success, and then they didn't take the next step.
100%. Branch, let's talk about your shows that you're promoting now. You got 4 shows coming up. June 9th, you got a show in Minnesota. Talk to me about that show. How'd that come about?
It's the Minnesota State Championships. I'm co-promoting it with Chris Bongiovanni. Mm-hmm. It's a show expo, so we have multiple events. We have a CrossFit competition. I think we've got close to 300 competitors. Game Day CrossFit Promotions is behind that. We have a powerlifting competition. It's I think just about sold out. We have a strongman competition, and then we also have a Highland Games. Highland Games, they do the hammer throw and all that cool stuff. So we're having that also, and then of course the NPC show with all the different divisions in the NPC show.
That's awesome.
Got an expo with I forget how many vendors we have, but pretty good sized expo. It's a second year show, and it's really exploded this year on us. So exceeded all of our expectations for what a second year show should be, and it's downtown Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. It's in Exhibit Hall 8.
What made you pick Minnesota to get involved with?
They a few years ago when the shows were growing so much, a lot of places just got saturated. Places like Texas and California and Florida. I mean, there was just so many shows because they were all huge. Texas was a phenomenon. I mean, every show was getting, 350, 400, 500, 600 people in them. So sometimes even there was some instances they got 700, 800 people. So it got really saturated. So I started looking for other areas to expand. And Minneapolis, we didn't have a whole lot going on, and there's a lot of competitors there. It's a fairly large city, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and so I went up and guest posed, and Christina is the NPC chairman up in that area. I guest posed at her show, and we got to talking. And so, what do you think about doing a show like this? Put something different to this area with the multiple events and the expo type format. And so we agreed on it and made it happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's June 9th. June 30th, you got the Branch Warren Classic, which is grown into a behemoth of a show. It's unbelievable. It's like going. I feel like I go to the Arnold Classic when I go to that show. It's just amazing.
We've been we started off really small back 13 years ago.
Yeah.
We outgrew that facility in a couple of years, and we moved to another facility just on the northern suburbs of Houston, and I think we stayed there for 4 years, and we outgrew that, and then we've been at the NRG Center, which is right next to shares a parking lot with the stadium.
Right.
The past several years, and then this year we're moving actually downtown to the George R. Brown Center.
Oh wow, really? You're moving? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so even got more space this year than we have previously. It's a much better venue. We've got 4 restaurants inside the convention center. There's 2 hotels, the Hilton and Marriott, which are connected with sky bridges to it. And it's downtown Houston, so there's multiple restaurants, hotels, shopping within walking distance of it, and just all around better venue.
Branch, is it scary to get involved in a new show, because there's a tremendous amount of expense you have to lay out predicated on the fact that you're going to make money on the show. So you're taking a little bit of a risk.
Yeah, you take a lot of risk, then you multiply that by 4, and there's a whole lot of money that goes out of the account at the beginning of the year, and you just hope that it all comes back to you.
Yeah.
It's all over. So it's a lot of risk, but that's part of being an entrepreneur, being a businessman. These people want to, I was talking to someone, and they were, kind of criticizing somebody we know because how much money they make. I said, well, man, do you know the amount of risk that guy takes? I said, he takes huge risks. And I said, when he's successful, absolutely he should be rewarded for it. That's what capitalism and being a businessman's about. So you take a risk, and if you're successful, you reap the rewards. And if you're not successful, guess what? You lose your butt.
Yeah.
So that's just part of it. So it's like, you start slow. I'm very conservative with our shows. We start small, and we build them and take baby steps, and it grows a little bit every year. Houston this year we have 10 events plus the NPC show. So we've started off with 2 on our very first show we had down there. So we've got 11 total this year. A huge expo. Got all kinds of cool stuff, going on for the kids and everything. So it's a fun day.
Do you have a staff of people working for you now, or you guys do it yourself still?
We still do it ourselves, but we have a lot of staff that helps us. It's just it's grown to the point to where there's no way we could do it.
Right.
People helping us out. It's I call it, it's like trying to herd cats. You've got so many different moving parts, and you're trying to get them all to fit together.
Yeah.
And it's you can't do it by yourself.
No. September 22nd, you got the League of Champions in Chicago with Mel Chansey. That's a new show. That should be exciting. I know Mel owns Chicago pretty much, so you guys should have the red carpet rolled out to you over there.
Chicago's going to be big right out the start, man. We've got a really good response from it. I think we're going to pack it out.
Yeah, me too. I think you're going to do great with that show.
The response to everything is going to be great. We've got a jiu-jitsu tournament, a powerlifting tournament, and a CrossFit tournament there in addition to the NPC show. We're getting I've never gotten a response like this far out, and especially for a first year show. So we're very excited about that. I'm very happy to be partnering up with Mel. It's his hometown.
Sure.
And, if you don't know if you've ever been to Chicago with Mel, but everybody knows Mel.
Everyone, yeah, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah,
I thought I'm well known in New York, but Mel could walk into any club, any restaurant, and they know him.
Yeah, it's he's I know he's really excited about it. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a fun weekend.
And then you're going to end the year October 22nd with the Texas Legends show and Expo, and that's in Dallas. So it's another big Texas show. That's going to be probably a big one because that's right before the Nationals.
Yeah, it's right before the Nationals. It's in my hometown here, Dallas. That's our third year for that. So it's been steadily growing every year. So looking forward to that. Good way to close out the year. Hopefully we qualify some great athletes and they go into Nationals and get their pro cards.
I'm going to ask you an uncomfortable question. Maybe it's not uncomfortable. Would you consider yourself wealthy now, Branch?
I don't know. Everybody has a different standard.
What's your definition? Would you say yes? Would you say I'm a success?
Man, I'm just a hard-working dude,
I know you are, but people want to know because you know what? You do a lot of stuff and you've put so much time and effort in. Do you feel internally that you are a success now?
I do consider myself wealthy. You know why? Because I have a beautiful wife. I have a healthy daughter. My mother's still here, and I have a beautiful home and a farm. And so I've got 2 dogs and 4 horses, and everyone's healthy. So I do consider myself very wealthy.
That's awesome. Final question, which is embarrassing for you, but it's relevant. Colin Van Moger. I don't know if you've been following this guy. He's in the new movie Bigger. He plays Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like an internet sensation. He's got a tremendous following on social media. He's been doing some crazy stunts, lately. He rappelled off the side of he tore his bicep recently doing a crazy stunt in Venice Gulch. Then he rappelled off the side of a mountain. He almost killed himself. He tore his quad and retore the bicep. You have had some freak injuries happen in your day, and you don't even try to do the freak injuries. Is this guy crazy or what? What advice do you give to bodybuilders if you're trying to be a successful bodybuilder?
Man, freak injuries are freak injuries.
Yeah.
I tore my quad. I wasn't in the gym, man. I slipped off a curb. It was raining, and I slipped off a curb, and it's just a freak deal, man. Had nothing to do with bodybuilding. I've had 800 pounds on my back squatting before, and no knee pains ever in my life. So, things like that happen. You can't. It's like driving home. Somebody runs a red light or something and crashes into you.
Right. But you're not jumping off. You weren't jumping off the side of cliffs either while you were competing.
No, I do no crazy shit like that. But I'm not. I do crazy stuff, man. I hunt. You've been hunting with us and the stuff we do, and I'm very active. I love the outdoors and I ride horses and all that stuff. So, that's me. I think everybody has to decide. Okay, any activity you do comes with a certain amount of risk.
Right.
Jumping out of a plane probably has a greater risk than, walking down the street or something. But it's a decision every person has to make for themselves. What I learned from having some of the injuries in my career, especially when I was at the height of my career, is I kind of scaled back some of the things I did.
Right.
Because I didn't want to get hurt because I had one opportunity to reach my ultimate goal.
Right.
I love motorcycles. I love to ride. I quit riding a long time ago because I didn't want to get hurt because of bodybuilding.
Right.
As much as I love to ride, I love being a pro bodybuilder way more.
Sure.
That was my income, so my livelihood. So you just kind of have to weigh the benefits versus the risk versus benefits and activities you do. I love doing. I can't just sit around the house. I like doing stuff, being active, and being outdoors. And
the one thing that really reminds me is when you were doing that scene in Generation Iron when you were riding your horse, which is a beautiful horse, by the way, and you got thrown off the horse. And I'm like, when something like that happens to you, and as it's happening, are you saying to yourself, what am I doing? What am I, crazy? I'm a top-level bodybuilder. I'm in the midst of the heyday of my career. Did I just F myself up because of this?
Well, number one, the camera crew spooked him after I told him kind of to back off.
Oh, really?
That pissed me off. Yeah, that pissed me off. Wasn't the first time I've been thrown, and it wasn't the last time I've been thrown. What made it worse is I hit my head on the concrete. That wasn't fun.
Oh, you did? I didn't realize if you got hurt because they didn't really show afterwards what happened.
Yeah, so now I learned that a long time ago. No matter how bad you hurt, you don't ever show it, brother.
Yeah. And, no, you don't. I know you don't. You're a bull.
So I was, did I question what I did? No, because I ride almost every day.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. So, I got pissed. I tied that horse up and I whooped his ass, for throwing me.
Yeah.
But he's a good horse. I ride that horse several times a week, and I still have him. I've had him for a long time, and
Right.
but he's a horse. He's an animal. Animals are unpredictable sometimes,
Sure.
and whether it's a dog or a horse or whatever it is, wild animal. So like I said, that's a risk you assume. You assume when you get on back of a horse and go riding, there's some risk involved in
Sure.
it. So I don't really blame the horse as much as I blame the camera crew. So I told those guys to back off, and they didn't back off, and so it is what it is.
Man, yeah, that was a scary. I felt the pain for you because on that one, I'm like, because people don't realize when you weigh 280 pounds and you fall off a horse, it's a lot worse than when you weigh 150 pounds and you fall off a horse.
Very true. Very true. So
It's
I
like
just looked at it, and I was just glad I didn't break or crack anything. I was preparing for the Olympia.
Yeah, I know you were. That's crazy.
So, I had a nice little lump on my head from that, and of course, growing up the way I did, you don't wear helmets.
Yeah.
They call you all kinds of names if you wear helmets. So,
You wear a cowboy hat. That's about it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So.
Anyway, so I'm glad, but I just wanted to put it out there because I think a lot of bodybuilders do take unnecessary risks, and if you're really, like you said, you stop riding your motorcycle because if you are intending to be the best that you can be at your sport, you have to eliminate the possibilities of getting hurt in other avenues because that could end your career overnight.
Absolutely, and if you're really trying to be the best world champion in your chosen sport, whether it's bodybuilding or whatever it is, it's things you do outside of there, other activities, you got to assess the benefits versus the risk.
Yeah.
And every person has to make that
Sure.
call on their own.
Well, Branch, thank you for being so honest and opening up to us and giving us a great interview here. And good luck with the beef jerky company. Good luck with Black Skull, and of course all your contest promotions. Do you have one general website people can contact you if they want to get information about your shows?
Man, go to thebranchwarren.com. It's got an online store there. Clothing line is on there through Gasp. I have links to all my competitions, all 4 of the competitions, and also to of course, Wicked Cuts and Black Skull. My supplement line through Black Skull, and then, of course, Wicked Cuts. Go to wickedcuts.co and check it out and get a free sample. And if you have any questions, send me a message. DM me on Instagram or Facebook.
All right, and I'll be doing a full review of the Wicked Cuts beef jerky products when I get them in the mail. They'll probably be there right after the interview's over, but I'll put that up separately. Thank you, Branch Warren, but that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and we'll see you next time.